Hi, my name is Gibson, and I'm the co-owner and creator of the Personal Development School. This is your daily breakthrough video, and in this video, I'm going to sort of have a discussion. And I really want to talk about some of the biggest reasons that you may be self-sabotaging yourself or unable to find love in your relationships or life. And this can manifest as a whole bunch of different things. This can show up in your life as things like you feeling that you always have relationships not work out or not last. This could show up as you feeling like you're always the one chasing in relationship dynamics. This could show up as you feeling like every time you get close to somebody, something happens and suddenly the relationship falls apart. Or this could just feel like you've been spending a long time not meeting the right person. And I want to sit here and tell you some really important patterns that I observe in people that tend to be very congruent, sort of irrespective of different attachment styles and where these things are coming from and what you can do. I'll make a follow-up video about what you can do to start reprogramming some of these things. And of course, if you want to do a deep dive into that part, we have two amazing courses for this inside the Personal Development School to fast track the process. Number one is the Emotional Mastery and Belief Reprogramming course, and number two is the 21 tools for subconscious reprogramming course, where you can really take the patterns you'll hear about in this video and plug them into these in-depth tools that are really results oriented and will help you achieve the lasting relationships you're looking for a lot more quickly. So what I want to start by talking about is the main patterns that I see. So pattern number one, we are always in our lives going to end up teaching people how to treat us. And I don't mean this in like a corny way, like in like, you treat people how you want to be treated or things like that. But I mean that like through our behaviors and through our relationship to ourselves, whether we realize it or not, it has a profound impact on the relationships outside of us. So if we are constantly diminishing ourselves, we are going to feel diminished. If we are constantly dismissing ourselves, we are going to not only feel dismissed by people around us because they aren't getting to see who we truly are because we're busy dismissing our own stuff. So how can somebody not make us feel dismissed? It's only a matter of time. But arguably more important than that, we're going to be really triggered when somebody's dismissive because it represents the way we hurt ourselves on a daily basis in the relationship to self. And so we're going to see those things externally and be like, ouch, that really hurts. Oh my gosh, that causes me pain. We're going to become reactive to that by pulling away, by becoming needy, by becoming volatile, by doing whatever it is that we do to cope, which are usually those coping mechanisms around those unhealthy patterns. What comes next after we feel that painful thing, those things are often the saboteurs of our relationships. So, what I often see is people who are struggling to find love, to find a relationship, to find something healthy that lasts. They, number one, are not showing their true self. They're not like showing up and sharing themselves and talking about their needs and talking about their boundaries. Number two, they're often dismissing themselves in relationships. Number three, they are often so sensitive to abandonment because they've kept that imprint from painful past experiences alive in the relationship to self at a subconscious level because they are in a chronic state of self abandonment, self abandoning their feelings, abandoning their goals, their dreams, the balance across the different seven areas of life with career and friends and family members the moment they get into a relationship because they make that the focal point of their life at the expense of the other parts of their whole self from a holistic point of view. So those are huge patterns. Feeling afraid of speaking up, feeling afraid or undeserving or unworthy of speaking up, of having needs, of having boundaries, of showing yourself and your truth, of being vulnerable and to ask for things like, "Hey, I'm feeling afraid. I need reassurance. Hey, I'm feeling disconnected. Can we spend some quality time together on Friday evening?" A lot of those conversations are not had. And if we keep repressing ourselves and pushing ourselves down and ignoring ourselves and avoiding ourselves and not showing up to communicate and share ourselves in a relationship to others, you can bet that everybody outside of you is going to mirror those same patterns at some point in time. So those are some really big ones. Another really big set of patterns that I often see, and there's a lot in here to sort of unpack, and I can always sort of split this up into more videos later on or talk about specific topics if you want to see them in the comments below. But if you want to dive into the school as well, there's a track for each attachment style, and it literally goes through the courses you should take to address these core patterns in order. And Another big piece that I'll see is if we have painful narratives about ourselves, these are absolutely going to interfere with our relationship. So if we have this story about ourselves from something that happened to us at one point in time, where we believe we're not good enough, or if we believe that we are unlovable, or we believe that we're unimportant, or that we're a bad person deep down, or that something's wrong with us and people are going to see that at our core. As long as we are carrying those narratives about ourselves, we are going to personalize things around those narratives because they're part of our subconscious identity. Anytime we have a trauma, it imprints us at the subconscious level. It becomes a part of the story we carry around through the world of our sense of self. It becomes a filter at a subconscious level we see and interact with reality through. And so if we have this unresolved wound or narrative, we're going to bring that up in all our relationships. We're going to be sensitive when we see our partner or loved one with somebody that we think is great. Maybe it's a friend in their workplace or whatever it is. And we're going to think, that person's better than me because I'm not good enough. Or if we make a mistake, we're going to over guilt and shame ourselves because we're going to be like, oh my gosh, see, I am a bad person, or I am, unworthy of love, or I am unlovable. And those narratives will absolutely interfere with our ability to have loving, lasting relationships. And this is where we, again, have coping mechanisms. We become really angry when we feel like these wounds are touched, or we become, it's too much, it hurts too much. We withdraw completely, we hide, we push people away, we avoid vulnerability, or we become so afraid that we're going to be abandoned again because the story about ourselves has been found out. So you hold on, we become really needy and we won't let go, and we over seek for somebody to make us feel safe, when really, like, that job and that duty lies with the relationship to ourselves. So those are all really important pieces, and out of that you'll see if we have, significantly lower self-worth, if we've got these painful narratives about ourselves, that will also play a role. So those are huge patterns. Another huge thing I see is that people will not have lasting and healthy relationships because they're trying to get their identity through a relationship. And I will tell you, I have seen many people over the years not empower themselves in all different areas of life. And I don't mean like you have to be perfect in all different areas of life, like you have to be the most successful person in your career, or you have to have all the money. Like, I don't mean anything like that. I mean, we just have to have intentions. We have to be like, this is what I want to do in the career area of my life. This is the direction I want to take. These are the things that I value and that matter to me in this area. These are the habits and the relationship I want to have with money, and be intentional about it. These are the types of friendships I want to have in my life and the qualities that I want these individuals to have. These are, and so on and so forth throughout the 7 areas of life. We don't need perfection. We just need to have a sense of identity. We need to have a sense of intentionality, a vision, goals. And they don't have to be these huge goals. They just have to be something that is true for us, aligns with us, and things that we show up for. So when we wake up every morning, we're not trying to get our life through our expectations of another person. We're not trying to get our significance through another human being. We're getting our significance from the meaning and purpose we derive from our own lives. And when we don't have that, we feel like we're kind of the shell of ourselves at a subconscious level. And when somebody comes into our life, we try to derive all of our needs through just that one person. And what that often leads to is putting too much pressure on the relationship, expecting too much from one single person to fill all of your cup and to make up for the lack that may exist in the different 7 areas of your life. And so when we don't have that sense of identity and sense of self in these different areas and things that we're moving towards, then we try to create our sense of identity from the outside in, not from things we choose intrinsically that balance each of the holistic parts of ourselves, but instead through one person giving us our significance, giving us our meaning, giving us our specialness, and all these things that become unhealthy versions of seeking this out. And I would say that this is another huge pattern I see in people who have these sort of hiccups in relationships, or have relationships they don't feel like are lasting or fulfilling for them. And so we have to give that time for ourselves. And we have an amazing course, like in depth for this exact purpose. It's called our Strengthening Self-Identity course, and it literally helps you get it all aligned there, and remove limiting beliefs you have about yourself when it comes to achieving your goals and all these different things. And it's important that we honor ourselves, and that we become the whole version of ourselves in order to get into a relationship. And I would say another very important thing as a new sort of topic or framework is the voice in our mind. We have 60 to 70,000 thoughts per day on average. And that those thoughts and the way that they are, if we're beating ourselves up all day, we don't notice the like I've said before, the alarm bells don't go off in the same way. We don't realize when people are critical on the outside, and we attract people who are unavailable, or we attract people who are critical and rude and verbally unfair, and we don't notice those things because those are a part of our subconscious comfort zone in the relationship to ourselves. And until we realize that, and realize, hey, this is my subconscious comfort zone and this is what's going on, until we really realize that and reprogram it and do that work on our own subconscious comfort zone, then we're going to keep looking outside of us for all of the solutions to everything, right? We're going to keep going, it's their fault. Why are they treating me like this? I'm not saying that it's excusable for people to be rude or unfair. It's not. We need to have boundaries around that. But our subconscious mind will keep going back to things or people like that. And well, our conscious mind knows it's unfair, but our subconscious mind is running 95 to 97% of our thoughts and emotions and behaviors and beliefs. And so we'll keep going into things that are unhealthy, even though we know better. And what that feeling is when we know better, but we keep going back to something, is that's our conscious mind knowing, and our subconscious mind really running the show beneath the surface, and going into the same things that represent our relationship to ourselves. And so, in our very last big category here, if we find ourselves with emotionally unavailable partners, we're largely emotionally unavailable to ourselves, not taking time for our own feelings and self-soothing and to meet our own needs. If we find ourselves with people who are critical or rude, we're often highly critical and rude in the relationship to ourselves, and those patterns need to be reprogrammed. If we're with people who violate our boundaries and disrespect our boundaries, if we had really good boundaries, we would move away right away. We would be like, this is inappropriate. This person's out of my life. But if we keep going back to those same things, that's largely a reflection of that our subconscious mind still thinks that this is okay and appropriate because it's what we're used to. It's comfortable, it's familiar. And the subconscious mind and the survival brain literally prioritize familiarity over any emotional well being or happiness because we're survival oriented at the end of the day. So you want to look at, like, what are my patterns? Who do I bring into my life? What do these things say about me? And these are all major focal points. So I will say, to sort of wrap this, we have tools for all of this inside PDS. And I don't mean to be like talking and talking about it, but just like, that's why I designed the school, is to fast track everything. It's so that you can like go in, have a framework, a curriculum, a track to follow, courses to take in order that give you the specific tools to deal with these very specific problems so you can get the results you're looking for in a much shorter period of time. And I'm trying to provide as much value as I can on YouTube, but like, still, it's only like a 10-minute video all the time, and it's just not the same. It's not in a framework and orchestrated in an organized way. So please check it out. There's a money back guarantee, and I'll put a link in the description box below. And that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.